Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I'm in a park in the city of Puerto de la Cruz on Tenerife. Well, somebody did not want to do a lot of landscaping or thinking in this park. Basically, the whole park is planted with palm trees, and with the same palm trees at that. There is a row of pink peppercorn trees here, one hibiscus and one yucca here, and oh, look, a Washingtonia palm here. But apart from that, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of palms that all are the same palms. And those palms will look familiar to a lot of you. No matter where you go, in the subtropics, in Mediterranean climates, in semi-desert, well, not so much in desert areas, but let's say mostly in subtropical Mediterranean and similar climates, you'll find this palm everywhere as an ornamental. However, it originates from here, from the Canary Islands. And here we are on the north coast of the island of Tenerife, in the Valle de Orotava, and quite a moist and mild climate, so it is possible that right on this spot, a couple hundred years ago, there was a grove of Canary Date Palms. Yeah, however, they were cut down for agriculture, and later agriculture got replaced by residential development, and yep, the palms came back because someone just wanted a nice green park and didn't want to think a lot about what to plant. The Canary Date Palm, as I said, it is endemic to the Canary Islands, but nowadays it's being cultivated throughout the subtropics and warm temperate areas. And it actually escaped in a lot of places and hybridized with the African Arabian date palm, Phoenix dactylifera. Yeah, but by the way, why is the Canary date palm so popular everywhere and not the African Arabian date palm? I mean, that palm has been with mankind for thousands of years, has been an important crop for thousands of years. Why is this one more popular in landscaping than Phoenix dactylifera? Why Phoenix canariensis, which didn't grow in the wild anywhere but on those tiny little islands here? Well, it has a lot of different reasons. The stem of this one, of Phoenix canariensis, is thicker, thus more stable, and seems to be more pleasing optically to some people. The fronds are not so glaucous, they are more a bright green that also seems to be more pleasing to some people. It grows better in moister climates. Don't forget that Phoenix dactylifera is from desert and semi-desert areas. Well, this one grows in desert and semi-desert areas if there is enough water, but it also grows in moist areas. Well, there are a lot of other reasons. This has a lot more fronds than Phoenix dactylifera. So, for example, on the island of Malta, they used to plant it because they used the fronds for some special lures or traps to catch some special fish. In tourist areas, they prefer to plant it because it seems like more fronds, in more palm-like tropical appearance. It's being cultivated very easily, so it's an important plant worldwide. Millions of them are being sold in nurseries, but not for fruit. Yeah. Well, the local Guanche here, before the Europeans arrived, they used the fruit for food, but they did not have this giant diversity of subtropical, tropical and temperate fruit we enjoy nowadays in the Canary Islands. They had to eat everything that was just barely edible. Nowadays the fruit are not being eaten anymore. Not even by children. Well, they are being eaten by birds and other animals and by worms, as you can see here. A different part of use for those palms was introduced by North African slaves. In Africa and Arabia, Phoenix dactylifera has been used to get palm sap, which was made into palm honey and palm wine. And when those North African slaves arrived here, they said, oh wait, we can do something with those worthless palm trees. We can make nice sugar, nice honey, and nice wine out of them. And yeah, you can buy miel de palma throughout the Canary Islands, palm honey. Well, palm honey harvesting is usually very harmful for the trees, but here there are harsh regulations for that because the endemic and endangered Canary Date Palm is protected. So nowadays, if you buy palm honey, you don't need to be afraid that you are destroying the local palm populations. I think it's illegal to harvest wild Canary Date palms away from agricultural areas. It's also illegal to harvest the ones in the park. So basically they harvest the wildish ones around the villages. But it seems to be regulated, so buying palm honey is not a big problem. Let's try the fruit. Well, a problem with this palm growing a problem with Phoenix species growing outside of desert areas is that dates keep well only in desert climate. We had a lot of rain in the last couple of weeks. It's almost impossible to find an edible Canary date palm or an edible African date palm. I'm seeing here, look, those bright yellow fruits, they are not ripe. The brown fruit, they are ripe, but look at that. Lots of worm shit. And if you open them, most of them will be already rotten. So let's pick a really ripe one. An underripe one. Let's get into the sun. So here between my index finger and my middle finger, there is an unripe one. Basically, if you keep this at home for a couple of days, it will get ripe. Between my middle finger and my ring finger, there is a ripe one. I'm sure if I open this, it will be full of mold or worm shit. And here, on the palm of my hand, are three which just ripened recently. And I hope that they will still be good. Well, first let's try the unripe fruit. Astringent, but what you can see very easily, there is less than a millimeter of flesh between the skin and the seed. Oops. Come on, am I gonna let any one of them fall down? Let's try the overripe fruit. I don't really trust this one. Actually, it seems to be good. Look. Even taste-wise, it's quite nice. Not much flesh. Not as sweet as Phoenix dactylifera, but almost no astringency. Yeah, I could eat this. I mean, 100 of them would provide about as much flesh as a single medjool date, which is being grown here in the Canary Islands. Not really worth the trouble. You would need a whole bunch of those to provide the flesh you will get from one medjool date, and medjools will grow like up to 1,000 fruit per bunch. So here again, there is not a lot of flesh around the seed. Now let's look at those intermediate. They seem to be kind of ripish, but still intact. Not bad, actually. As far as Canary dates go, those are some of the best ones I ever had. Taste-wise, not as good as good Phoenix dactylifera, but easily as good as mediocre to inferior Phoenix dactylifera. Not very sweet, a bit starchy, but sweeter than really starchy varieties of Phoenix dactylifera. So taste-wise, this is well within the range of Phoenix dactylifera. Not a good date, but not a bad date either. Only, yeah, size-wise, about 10 of them would have as much flesh as a smaller Phoenix dactylifera, and about 100 of them as much as a giant medjool date. So yeah, as far as Canary dates go, this is one of the good ones. I mean, if I was passing here every day, I might grab a handful and nibble them. Also good as a survival food, but most Canary date palms will be quite disgusting. It's even possible that this is some hybrid with Phoenix dactylifera. I mean, to me it looks like Phoenix canariensis. It looks a little bit stressed. A lot more dried fronds than all the other palms, a lot more fruit than the other palms. That points towards some stress. But it doesn't really look like a hybrid. It looks like a canariensis. Maybe a little bit like a hybrid, but this could be due to the fact that it's a bit undernourished in some way. I don't know how exactly. Yeah, but as far as Phoenix canariensis dates go, good dates, only if you compare them with Phoenix dactylifera, there is still no reason to cultivate those for fruit purposes. But still, it's much more popular as an ornamental than Phoenix dactylifera, so it's a worldwide, economically important fruit tree, theoretically, despite not being used for fruit. So folks, this was Phoenix canariensis. If you are somewhere in a tropical or subtropical or Mediterranean place, try the fruit. Worst thing that can happen to you is getting some mold or worm poo in your mouth or getting some horribly astringent fruit. Best thing that can happen to you is trying a mediocre teeny tiny date. Just try it if you are brave enough. Don't blame me if you get worm poo in your mouth. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful island of Tenerife. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.